This presentation, titled The Future of Auditor Training, comes to us from Jackie Stapleton. Jackie is the founding director of Auditor Training Online, which is a registered training organization and an exemplar global recognized training provider for courses in management systems auditing. She also leads audits ranging from small to medium enterprises to large global corporations, including commercial, industrial, and civil construction, oil and gas, petroleum, infrastructure, utilities, IT and telecommunications companies, and government. Jackie held senior quality and environmental positions in IT and telecommunications companies, as well as government-owned utilities, and is currently the lead panel member for JAZAN's accredited third-party certification body. She's also an exemplar global lead auditor and skill examiner for quality, OHS, and environmental management systems. And with that, take it away, Jackie.
Hi there, and thank you for that warm welcome, Mike. As mentioned, I'm Jackie, the Director of Auditor Training Online. We're an exemplar global recognised training provider, so it's great to be asked to present at the Future of Auditing Expo. As you may know, I am passionate about auditing and management systems, so I'm excited to share with you our vision of auditor training, as well as our responsibilities to our professionals as a training provider. We all find ourselves part of an interesting time in history at the moment. COVID-19 has been and will continue to be a significant driver of change across all industries. These changes are likely to continue even after we have solutions to manage this pandemic. For example, there's going to be a large number of us that choose to continue to work remotely. I've had to adapt my own audit process, having to do a lot more remote audits. I've had to adapt to this new normal and modify my auditing process to achieve the same results for clients, but in a different way. Change is a great way to review and improve the processes we use and see what still works and, of course, what doesn't. It's more important than ever for professionals and organisations to have knowledge about management systems, how to implement them and how to audit them. Management systems are a great way to allow organisations to understand risks and, importantly, take advantage of new opportunities. So, at Auditor Training Online, we are seeing a lot of professionals and organisations that have had to adapt and are actually looking at the current situation as the perfect opportunity to upskill and be ready for the new opportunities ahead. Training providers have an important role to play in this process, but we need to adapt too. It's a time for training providers to be agile, responsive, and do more with less, just like everyone else. Whenever we talk about the future of anything, it's easy to just talk about the technology. But remember, technology is just a tool. Technology must be used to enhance the learning experience, not detract from it. Instead, as I discuss the challenges with training and, of course, the solutions, I'm going to concentrate on 3 pillars that are important when considering a training provider. They are: Pillar 1, learning outcomes. So does the training give the professional what they need? Does the training give them what is required to take that next step in their career? Pillar 2 is accessibility. How easy is it for professionals to access the training? Some of the common barriers to anyone undertaking training could be they don't have enough time, the cost is prohibitive, or it could be geographical constraints. As training providers, how can we minimize and remove these barriers? Then finally, there's Pillar 3, lifelong learning. This is my favorite. This includes ongoing professional development so that the professional can keep their qualifications up to date and stay current with changes in the industry. Also included under this pillar is community. When you're part of a community that helps one another, you can learn from real people with a variety of skills and experience. As training providers, we need to be prepared to stay with the professional for their entire learning journey and even after this. Of course, these pillars are just as important now as they will be in the future. And as I continue with the presentation, these will give us a framework to assess where we are now, where we are heading in the future with regards to training. I'll break things down into the following broad topics. So where are we now? What are the challenges with traditional training, such as classroom training? Doing it better. We have all the tools we need now to overcome the challenges of traditional training. And then finally, technology. The how we do it isn't nearly as exciting as the why we do it, but I'll give you a quick idea of how we deliver our training using the currently available technology. Remember, the technology serves us, not the other way around. So let's look at where we are now. What are the traditional approaches to training? A perfect example would be classroom-based training. Obviously, this type of training has been severely impacted by the current environment. So these traditional training providers are trying to adapt by creating a virtual classroom using technology such as Zoom. We need to ask, how does this classroom environment deliver on those three important pillars of learning outcomes, accessibility, and lifelong learning? Let's look at learning outcomes. Classroom-based training is an old approach. This is a way of training that started over 100 years ago, driven by the needs of the Industrial Revolution, one teacher having to instruct many professionals in how to follow a process, often a monotonous and repetitive one at that. Some of the challenges with this approach are that it's not tailored to the individual's learning requirements. The professional can't learn at their own pace. They can only move as fast as the slowest person in the room. And depending on how the content is delivered, it may not appeal to the three major learning styles: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, so hands-on training. Due to COVID-19, and depending on where you are located currently, you might not be able to access a physical classroom to do your training due to issues with physical distancing and restricted travel. Many of these training providers are trying to adapt by offering a virtual classroom environment using a technology, again, such as Zoom. I'm sure some of you have spent hours on a Zoom meeting. It's not fun, is it? Even under normal circumstances, classroom-based training presents barriers to professionals trying to take the next step in their career. The main one being the often overlooked extra cost of this type of training, beyond the cost of the training itself. This includes travel, accommodation, and the cost of taking time off work, as well as the additional cost of paying for a human teacher, a room, and of course, those all-important snacks. This all adds to the cost for the professional or the organisation that are paying for it. When looking at the organisations that offer this traditional training, you should also ask yourself this question: what support and opportunities do I have access to after I receive my qualification? If you think back to the last time you did training, what support and resources were provided to you after you walked out the door? Training providers need to be prepared to stay with the professional longer and be part of their lifelong learning. The benefit to training providers is it's a well-known fact that it's easier to keep a customer than to find a new one. The benefit to the professional is that there is a level of continuity and consistency in the training they receive from the same training provider. Examples of this would be bridging courses, short courses, micro courses for professional development, as well as resources consistent with the training that was undertaken. Also, is the training provider one you are proud to be associated with? Is the training provider setting a good example for you as a professional? Is the trainer and the organisation showing you an example of how you want to conduct yourself as a professional? So, what's the solution? After working as a classroom trainer myself and seeing all of the challenges that the traditional training approach gave professionals, I wanted to develop a solution that addressed all of these challenges. The approach that made the most sense was to deliver the training using the latest web technologies. Just to be clear, we didn't just come up with this solution yesterday. We've been delivering training in this way since 2013, so we know what works. Before I look at the solution we have developed in the context of our 3 pillars of learning, I want to talk generally about major advantages to professionals when using web technologies to deliver their training. Scalability. We can have one professional studying or tens of thousands of them studying. The system will handle this. You don't need to wait for the next scheduled classroom session. Responsiveness. From the time someone decides to enroll online to the time they get their login details is a matter of minutes. Automation. We streamline the process of learning as much as possible. By using automation, we can mark many of the assessments automatically, so the professional is not delayed waiting for results. Another example of this is how certificates are automatically generated and emailed to the student as soon as they complete the course. Easy access to information as well. So in addition to the course content, a significant number of other resources can be provided electronically without the need to print out documentation and those huge manuals. Let's discuss how this new approach delivers better learning outcomes for professionals undertaking training. What I love about the training we provide using our approach is that it is a repeatable experience for professionals. It's not dependent on the quality or experience of the person standing at the front of the classroom or how they might feel that particular day. This repeatable experience is also important in ensuring we consistently deliver the content and perform assessments to ensure the qualification achieved meets the high levels Exemplar Global expects. Importantly, the professional achieves the same result as traditional training. That is an Exemplar Global recognised qualification. Professionals can work at their own pace and schedule course work in between other important things in their life. They can review content as often as they want, asking us questions at a time that works for them. We receive a lot of positive feedback about this approach. We break the training up into smaller periods of time. In addition to helping schedule training, smaller intervals of study help the professional absorb the knowledge. Our approach allows us to deliver practice quizzes before each assessment, which can be taken as often as required to ensure the professional is confident that they are ready for the assessment. But what if you need help? Well, we're here for you as well. You can contact us by email or phone during business hours with any questions about content, and we can help you. Now, let's take a look at how this new approach meets the pillar of accessibility. This is an easy one. You can learn anywhere at any time. There is no cost for travel, accommodation, a human teacher, or a physical classroom. It is on-demand training. There's no need to wait for scheduled classroom training. There are simple systems to account for people with a range of computer literacy. It caters to a broad range of people, from new auditing professionals to those with decades of experience. We've even included new payment methods such as buy now, pay later by partnering with Zip payment solutions. So this makes training accessible right now when you need it. This way of delivering training has proven to be highly resilient to the changes that we have seen in the world recently. So remember, earlier I said you need to ask your training provider, what support and opportunities do I have access to after I receive my qualification? Well, now I'm going to go through how Auditor Training Online answers that question. It's all about continual professional development. We're with our professionals at all stages of their learning journey. Let me paint a picture for you. We provide content and tools to our professionals even before they enroll in any of our courses. Things like checklists, templates, and video playlists. When you enroll in a course, you receive access to a learning pathway that is proven to work so you can obtain your qualification. In addition, once you enroll, you immediately become part of our professional community and get access to our community group to ask questions and watch lives on current topics, influencing your industry and answering your questions. Having others around you who are going through the same process is a powerful way of learning. Once you complete the course, you still remain part of this community. You can still ask questions related to your new profession. Learners also receive access to the Extended Learning Program, which we call ELP, because we all need a little bit of ELP sometimes, don't we? This program further supports your career development. It's often not what you know, it's who you know. So as you progress in your career, the importance of being part of a professional community who are also experiencing the same challenges and finding solutions cannot be underestimated. Micro-learning. I've already mentioned the scalability of the online environment to the large scale, but what about the small scale? What if we want to deliver a short course with a duration of 1 hour? Say, for example, one that brings people up to speed on some change to an ISO standard or some skill aligned with conducting a remote audit or any other professional development skills. Delivering this short amount of content through traditional means just doesn't work. But in the online environment, you can deliver this micro-learning. Auditor Training Online has micro-learning for leadership, management, project management, customer service, and so much more that can benefit your career pathway. There's also social media, so Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. This isn't just about sharing videos of cats playing the piano. These are powerful platforms to connect, share, and stay informed. We've chosen to use all of these platforms to allow our professionals to do this. As an example, all of our Facebook Lives are recorded so they can be accessed at any time on our community hub. These social media platforms also allow us to measure what type of content people are engaging with, so we can continue to provide the content and learning opportunities that people have shown us that they actually want. And to finish this section off, have you noticed how I've used the term professional throughout this presentation and not student? When you become part of our community, we want you to think like the professional that you are and not just a student doing a course. This in itself is very powerful. Now, we can talk about the technology. As I mentioned earlier, it's not about technology for technology's sake, but rather focusing on outcomes. However, I do want to share with you a little bit of how we actually implement this in practice. At the heart of it is our custom-built website, which is the central hub of the learning experience. This is where you get access to your courses, the community, and resources that support you. From here, you will complete your courses and assessments in the learning management system. This is the engine room, handling all of the delivery and assessment of knowledge in a clear process. And then finally, central to supporting you is our CRM. This is a tool that we use to track all of our communications to allow our team to provide consistent and timely support to all of you. So the new normal is online training. It offers everything traditional classroom-based training does, and it reduces or eliminates the disadvantages associated with this traditional training approach. As well as a continued increase in private organisations and professionals adopting this new form of learning, we're also seeing an uptake in a lot of government departments, including Defence, who would have normally used traditional training in the past. With this new approach, you can do a lot more with less. This is a smart way of doing training. The world hasn't stopped turning. People still need to develop their career and upskill, making use of their years of experience. Businesses still need to keep growing, and having knowledge of management systems allows businesses to understand and manage risks as well as leverage opportunities. I hope that from the discussion today, you can see that Auditor Training Online is the right partner for you, as we know what it takes now and in the future to transform your experience into a career without the challenges of traditional training. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Jackie Stapleton, for that insightful perspective on the future of auditor training. And that concludes this presentation.